neighborhood right-of-ways. Interesting name, because you and your neighbors don't always have the right to get your way with what happens on your property between the sidewalk and the street. You see Denver's right-of-ways increasingly filled with homeless encampments. Our Marshall Zellinger went to Cap Hill, where some public right-of-ways appear to be closed to the public.
If you didn't know any better, it sure looks like there's a lot of construction projects going on in Capitol Hill near downtown Denver. But we know better.
I think it's kind of uglier than the actual tents that would be put up here.
Temporary orange fencing, tied together yellow caution tape. What's right for this way?
They could be living here. Instead, there's like ugly tape.
The not-so-subtle secret that Cap Hill resident Madeline Smith sees is an unwelcome message for those experiencing homelessness.
They're like, go somewhere else. But where are they gonna go? They like have nowhere to live.
We're having a hard time finding who's following the proper permitting.
Travis Leiker is the president of Capitol Hill United Neighborhoods, who met with the city as head of the registered neighborhood organization where the public rights of way have private pushback.
What you see is a number of private property owners trying to triage what they think is a concern or an issue in terms of public right-of-way enforcement.
Take, for example, the corner of 10th and Pennsylvania. The public right-of-way outside this townhome complex is fenced off. The city park is closed. Hey, that corner has open space, and this one is also fenced off. Then, over at 10th and Emerson, this tree in the public right-of-way has a no trespassing sign.
It's not something you should be doing, putting a no trespassing sign on a tree.
I gave the city a handful of addresses and intersections with rights of way fenced off to see if anyone had a legit permit. The permit would allow for temporary fencing to grow landscaping or grass in the tree lawn area. As you've probably figured out, the city had no record of any permits at the locations I passed along.
We haven't taken a firm stance in terms of right of way, but what our position is follow the rules.
So what about enforcement and removing the fences where they're not allowed? Denver's Department of Transportation and Infrastructure tells me as they can free up an inspector, they will look at the areas and either ask the property owner to get a permit if they really are landscaping, or ask to have the fencing removed, not remove it themselves, apparently.
Driving around town, you see more and more hostile architecture put in by either builders or company owners or private property owners.
And Travis used that term, I hadn't heard it before, really, hostile architecture, and it made me think of the pigeons and the little needles that keep them from hanging out on light posts and stuff. And apparently, I've seen boulders. These are just temporary fencing, but there are other places where you ship in a boulder, drop it down, makes it very uncomfortable to be there. Yep,
the stuff that we do to animals, we do to people too. Keep them off of places. Also, rights of way, right of ways.
You know the social media professors will let us know. I'm going with rights of way.
You're right. It is rights of way, like attorneys general or courts martial. Compound nouns. That's what we learn about on next. Compound nouns. Thank you, Marshall.